The Megacanners prepare for the Pentecost the only way Jesus would have wanted, with a Captain Morgan Mojito, the ideal foundation for Kreuzberg's Karneval der Kulturen this weekend. But sadly, the news keeps happening, and yet it doesn't, as the police decides to intimidate climate activists for no purpose, and Robert Habeck finds his heating bill pointlessly blocked by the FDP. Amen.
Hello everyone. I'm going to clap it out today. I don't really know why. Hi everyone. It's time for Megan's Megacan again. Hooray! I'm very excited to be here with Ex-Berliner Magazine and Konrad Werner. Hello Konrad.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well.
Good. It's a beautiful day. The weather is lovely.
Yes, this is the ideal weather for me.
Yeah, not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, it's just perfect sort of, you can be outside without a coat on and just wander around with a Megacan, maybe.
Yes, you can. I have for us Captain Morgan Mojito, which dedicated listeners will know is the only kind of mojito Megacan worth drinking. Do not fuck about with a Bacardi one, or God knows, like an off-brand one. Don't do it. Okay. Captain Morgan's one is good. I have some concerning news regarding Megacans. I have a horrible feeling that they are redoing the Captain Morgan's one and the Gordon's Gin and Tonic. And I have a horrible feeling they've gone down to 250 ml.
What do you mean redoing?
They're like reissue it, like they're changing it. These are old school ones.
Well, the cans are smaller.
Yeah. For
the same price, probably.
I'm kind of trying to ignore it. I keep seeing these weird Gordon's looking one. It's my favourite Mega.
And it's too small.
And it's a skinny can. As a friend said to me recently, a thin can is a can that's like lost its way. It's forgotten what it is. You have to have a chunky can to fit in your hand.
Yeah, I very much agree.
Oh God. Anyway, I'll be on the Four Locos. That'll be importing them from America, and then I'll just lose my mind. All right, but these will be delicious, and they're still for the moment 330 mils.
Yes. Ooh, lovely.
That's nice. I got these because of the weather, but also because when I got kicked off the bus 2 stops early, because I don't know about you, but a mojito and anything kind of, particularly like a caipirinha, cocktails from rum places, reminds me very much of the Carnival of Cultures, which happens in Berlin every year, and that is why the road is closed near your house.
Yeah.
So it's happening this weekend.
Every Pfingstwochenende, it always is, so it can go on.
Is that it? It's Pfingsten.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Well, it's because they have the Monday off, so they can go into Monday, so it's Saturday, Sunday, and then Pfingstmontag, which is Pentecost.
It is Pentecost.
In English.
Whitsun, actually, as well, if you're English, I think.
And that's always a bank holiday in Germany, and so they always have Karneval der Kulturen on that weekend, and it's good, and they haven't had it for a couple of years. This is the first one in 3 years, I think, because of COVID, and it gets very noisy around here that time.
There's a lot
very crowded, a lot of street food.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. I mean, there's probably a lot of like weird appropriation shit going on, but there's also a lot of like actual cultures who live in Berlin represented.
Yeah, there's a parade. Have you ever seen the parade?
I'm sure I must have.
Oh, they parade along Gneisenaustrasse and then around here, and I guess every community gets to dress up and do the parade thing, and you see a lot of little children with face paint and bouncy castles and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
So if you want a probably incredibly strong cocktail.
Oh yeah, and you get
like they cocktails. Are not fucking about, some of these people pouring these drinks. So get yourself down there. Yeah,
and it's a lot of and I think it's going to be a nice weekend. So also the Spätis have got the measure of Karneval der Kulturen. They always put they basically turn into bars. They put the whole thing out. All the prices got doubled. Yeah, they just have a big barrel of ice with beer in it and sell that for like 4 years each or something.
That is one of the great things about the sort of partying in Berlin. Like, in what world would that happen? I mean, I'm sure it would on like smaller scale, but this is just every fucker in the, brilliant. I love it. And there's probably going to be there's probably also going to be some like cringy pictures of politicians presumably.
Francisca Giffey will probably be out.
I was literally thinking of her. She'll be out in some like weird suit, posing beside somebody in like a tradition, like some kind of dress. Oh, gross.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we've got to look forward to on this Pentecost. Yeah, a lot of bank holidays in May generally.
It's great. I don't work I work this week 5 days.
Yeah.
But not making a habit of it in May. I think this is the only full 5-day week we've worked in May as teachers.
And next week is
maybe there was another one earlier in the thing.
So
I'm just trying to stall. Please God, because it's really.
It's been a while since we've done this.
It is 3 weeks.
Can you remember what we talked about last time?
Yeah, we were sober. I can.
Oh yeah.
We talked about Kai Wegner coming to power in Berlin. We talked about the mafia. And we talked about the trial of Lena E.
Oh, well remembered.
I'm reading from my notes.
Oh, okay.
I didn't remember any of that.
Because the story so far. So the news has continued, and one of the things that happened, because we talked about the raids on the mafia 3 weeks ago, and now we've had very similar raids on the Last Generation group, Letzte Generation, which is a group of young climate activists who have been staging what you'd call like interventions on the streets of Berlin, especially in Berlin, but all over the country. And there have been raids thanks to the state prosecutor in Munich.
Do we want to, in case no one is in Germany, some people aren't in Germany.
Yeah.
So these people have been staging lots of different protests. You might have seen some of them. They've been like getting into the Adlon, the big hotel here somehow. Was that them?
Probably.
They got up on the kind of like balcony. Adlon, famous for being the hotel where Michael Jackson dangled his baby off.
And they dangled, what did they dangle?
They put banners up being like, we can't afford the super rich, or like the planet can't afford the super rich or something. And like there was like paint and flares and I don't really know what it was. And
they were also the ones that threw mashed potatoes at the Monet in the Barberini.
Yes, they've been doing a lot of stuff with like art and things. They have been, I guess, on the more extreme end of protest. And one of the thing that they're becoming infamous for in Berlin or in Germany, and they've got the moniker the Klimakleber, because they've been klebering themselves, sticking themselves, gluing themselves to roads.
Yeah.
And this has caused, obviously, in the car-obsessed nation that is Germany, some consternation. But it's all fucking... They have not attacked anybody, to the best of my knowledge. They have not done anything other than protest. And maybe some mild destruction of property.
Well, the Munich state prosecutor is accusing them of being a criminal organisation, which is the same charges that were made against the mafia and against right-wing terror groups. This is the
fucking Christ.
And as a result of that, there have been raids all over Germany, not just in Bavaria, Munich. I've been in 15 properties, including Berlin. They woke people up, searched people's flats and offices, and also accused them of, one of the charges was collecting money to carry out criminal crimes, which was what they did because they have a website and they'd collected like something like 1.4 million euros worth of donations, and
because they're an organisation, they're like a charity.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So the website was shut down and has now got a new name. It's now letztegeneration.org. And in fact, since the raids happened a couple of days ago, they've had way more donations than they've had before.
Donate some money.
They've had
fucking shit.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes to where you can donate.
Yeah, you can.
Because there's been a lot of outrage about these things, and a lot of the conservative politicians have all been saying, "Oh, it's about time," and the left-wing politicians have been saying, "Well, it's what are these charges and what do they even mean?" And also, there were no arrests made. It's important to point out, even though they're calling them a criminal organisation, they didn't actually arrest any
Are you
of them.
fucking kidding me?
No, it was like, some people would say it was pure intimidation, really.
That absolutely is what it is.
Yeah. But
fuck this fucking shit. They can't even... What were they trying to find? Nothing. They knew they weren't going to find anything because this is not a criminal terrorist organisation. They are desperately trying to draw our attention to the fact that planet's on fucking fire. Whatever you have to say about their means, and yes, it is a little bit annoying, but like they've also had people like getting out of their fucking cars and beating them up. And like I went past, there's a purely tiny anecdotal thing, but like I went past one of these protests and they'd been like taken forcefully like off the road. They were sitting on the side like surrounded by police on like Kreuzberg Straße, maybe, one of those big streets in the east there a few weeks ago. I was on like training, so I was with a bunch of teachers and we were walking to get coffee. We're like such teachers, so we were like crouching down to give them like the thumbs up and being like, you're doing a really good job. But first of all, I think there was like one maybe older lady who looked like kind of like a hippie in her 60s. And obviously everyone can look, you know, there can be criminal terrorists that look whatever, but such little like young students. Also, you sit in fucking traffic all the time in a car in Berlin. I rented a car yesterday to go to like IKEA and the garden center.
Yeah.
All it is traffic. And I said to like my partner, I was like, why would you not take the S-Bahn? Why? Or why? Fair enough, but like, why would this be enough that you think it's such a fundamental right to sit on the fucking Autobahn?
And being annoyed and sweaty. It's horrible driving around.
It makes no sense to me. But actually, do you know what? It's not actually the people in cars and it's not whatever. It's the fault of fucking the media who are reporting on this really irresponsibly, and also politicians and like the state apparatus. You'd think that the fucking German state apparatus would be more concerned with being on the right side of history, and they just aren't.
Well, not only are they not, there was a controversy over the website issue because the state prosecutors essentially confiscated the website and froze bank accounts, and they put up on the website a notice that said the last generation represents a criminal organization according to paragraph 129 blah blah blah. And afterwards and then it also said warning, this is on the website, this is what the state actually wrote on the website, donating to the last generation represents a prosecutable support for a criminal organization. Now this, a lot of people pointed out, was bollocks. That was the legal term that was used because because the state prosecutor is not the one who decides who's a criminal, what is a criminal organisation or not. That is what courts do, and there hasn't been any court case yet about any of these people. Yeah. So they took that down again.
Oh wow!
And they said,
"Not surprised." You fucking idiots.
And then a spokesperson, Bavarian police, said these were not our words. We didn't mean it. This was the words of the state prosecutors. Blah blah blah. And it was they were also asked about it. The Interior Ministry, or Federal Interior Ministry, was asked about it in a press conference, saying, Is the state prosecutor simply allowed to declare someone a criminal organisation if even though there's not been a court case? And they kind of dodged the question, the spokespeople, and they said, well, we wouldn't want to comment on the communications tactics of state prosecutors. That's what they said. So they took that down again. But there is the last generation have put up an alternative website. They put .org instead of .de, and you can still donate, and it is not yet a prosecutable offence unless there is a court case and when they're found guilty. So that happened. That was a bit weird.
Yeah, and so I've only heard like bits of this from the boomer radio station that I listen to, Berliner Rundfunk 91.4. And actually, I think I'm going to have to stop. Their coverage of this have been so fucking awful that I think I just can't listen to them anymore. They were quite good during the pandemic with the vaccinations. But didn't Olaf Scholz say something very controversial about like the Olaf Scholz who never says anything about anything?
don't even know if he exists.
The man you could ask what sandwich he wants for lunch, and his probably assistant has that task every day, and he fumbles about and doesn't fucking make a statement. He said they were völlig bekloppt.
Yeah.
Which is a word I just had to look up, which means like batty, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the politicians are really scared of all this because it's like Brexit, you know, like we don't care if things get really bad for us. Like the people of, because we're gonna segue now into the heating law. just like the mild reforms that the German government wants to bring in is bringing like such a wave of media condemnation because they want to phase out gas and oil heating, that politicians like Scholz and Habeck and the other leaders are like so petrified that they'll say things like Klimakleber sind bekloppt.
So you think they're having to like hedge their bets because...
Yeah, because their voters are people with cars who get annoyed.
I don't know. I feel we put a lot of blame onto the car drivers.
Well, yeah, it's not your fault if you've got a car. I've got a car.
You monster.
I don't know.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, I do think, like, why do we have the media and why do we have politicians if not to kind of like, obviously politicians have to act in the interests of their constituents, but surely there's also like, they don't do that anyway because we have lobbying and we have whatever. So they use popular support to get into power, and then they basically kind of do whatever their party is going to do or whatever lobbyists want them to do, as far as I understand.
Yeah, that's true. The gas industry is pretty big in Germany.
Yeah. And so
they
this kind of idea like, oh, I have to do this. And it's always like, well, my constituents, I don't know. I just feel like people could be better at brokering deals that are in the benefit of everybody. And then surely your job as a politician is to kind of go and not like sell it to your constituents, but be kind of hear me out.
Yeah.
But we don't actually go and talk to our constituents, presumably, anymore, really.
Well, they have to be able to explain, and that's what you are as a politician. You're a salesperson, really. You're selling the policy that you've already decided on to the public and saying, look, this is why we have to do it. And up until recently, Robert Habeck, our climate protection minister, was considered quite good at this job. Like, he was good at explaining why it was complicated and this and that, and why and he had a fresh way of talking. We even talked about this on the interviews, but now he's really struggling because he's got this. This is the Gebäudeenergiegesetz, building
energy law.
Yeah, it's just called the heating law because it's mainly about phasing out oil and gas heatings on new buildings, which they want to bring it in so that within a few years, any new heating systems that are installed in new buildings are 65% renewable energy. And
this is just on new buildings. This is just future plans. This is nothing.
Not your building, but there's always. It doesn't mean that you have to rip out your heating. It's like everyone's saying they're going to rip out the heating, and that's what the Bild-Zeitung is saying. Yeah.
So then it gets filtered through this fucking media bullshit.
So anyway, and the problem is that this was all agreed. Like this Energiegebäudegesetz was all agreed a couple of months ago in the coalition, and now this week the FDP,
for fuck's sake,
the smallest party in the three-party
coalition, baby business boys in government because baby business boys don't know how to behave properly. Yeah.
So they they kind of came. They said, "Oh, we haven't agreed to this yet," and it was like, "Yeah, you have." And he says, no, we've got 100 questions. This is what came out earlier this week. The FDP said we have 101 questions, which we will send to the ministry. We'll send to Habeck's ministry. And then these 101 questions didn't really materialize. And then yesterday they said, oh, we didn't mean 101 questions. We just said we have some talking points. And then they sent this new paper with 77 talking points, which will have to be discussed because the whole plan was this is an important law for the government. And they want to get this through quickly. And
it's an important law for all of us because
we
have to. If we can't agree on the fact that maybe in the future, when we build new things, we should try and make them not destructive to the planet, which is already partially destroyed, then we're really quite fucked.
No one really knows what these questions are, and apparently, So anyway, they were going to go into the next stage, which was in front of the parliamentary committees, where they invite experts to discuss and all this other stuff, and that couldn't happen this week because of the FDP and their questions. And then And the reason why they were delaying was because the FDP were...
Sorry, just to pause this narrative for a moment. You're like an expert and you're being called up for your government panel. Like, this is a big deal. And you're prepared. They've been preparing presumably for months because they're fucking professionals and they know what they're doing. And then you don't get to do that. It gets postponed because the baby business boys are like...
So some of the questions were apparently not serious enough. So they had to they delayed a little bit anyway because they said, because basically anyone in the FDP could just send in a question, and some of the questions were like, how much CO2 can this possibly save, and could you give us the figures by year? And there was always like these questions that were impossible to answer.
Oh no. Oh my god.
Jahresscheiben, that's a new word. A yearly slice.
So it had to be postponed because the FDP were supposed to be prepared for it, and then what they'd prepared was bullshit.
They said though, and so now it's all going to be. There's going to have to be a meeting again, and the Green Party is really pissed off about this because they're already putting out, like, various MPs of the Green Party are putting out tweets saying the FDP is basically sabotaging this government. You know, they're saying that they're calling into question whether this government can even function or not, because they keep, every time we make a decision, they keep going back on it. And the FDP clearly think that Habeck is unpopular now because of this heating law, and they think that they can get some political capital out of it, but that might really backfire on them because no one likes a government that isn't functioning, you know, and that's what's happening at the moment.
But you see, fundamentally, what's happened here is I have, in my career, you meet these lads. If you've got this kind of libertarian, disruptive kind of vibe that the FDP want to do, then it tracks that you won't go, oh, now we're supposed to be the grown-ups and we have to, like, it's all just... And no one wants to be a grown-up. No one wants to be like, okay, but now we're actually in the, like, regierende government, so we have to... We can't keep being like, oh, we're not going to play with those lame Green Party guys. Like, don't they know that Elon Musk is going to, like, solve climate change? The market is going to, like, flatten it out. I can't believe we voted these fucking clowns in.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we knew was going to happen.
I know. Well, yeah. It's really annoying. I agree.
So what's the state of the law then? We have to postpone it even though it was already agreed.
Now they're gonna, and now they have to first answer these 77 questions, and
77.
And in the meantime, the Green Party is threatening to block FDP measures such as the building up motorways. This was one of the FDP deals that they got. They said, we'll agree to your building heating law if you let us build more motorways.
To which they're going to be like, oh, but you're also threatening us. I'm like, no. You agreed to something and we compromised, and then you've gone back like in an embarrassing way.
Yeah. So
no, we're not going to then support this other thing. We don't need any more motorways. Fuck off.
So
why would you, like, I think we just need to restart with politics, because the problem with politicians is they appear like, I don't know how anyone with any sense of anything other than wanting to do politics and being kind of popular, like it appeals to the wrong kinds of, we have to restructure it so it appeals to different people to go into it as a career, because it looks hellish and why would you do it, and it's awful and people like complain about you on podcasts all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's also the way that we decide our most important things.
Well, I think as a career path, it seems to me that politics has become like the stepping stone to being in business, where you make real money. So
then they go on and, like, as a speaker or whatever, and you...
they join the boards.
If we got rid of...
That's what Friedrich Merz did. He joined executive boards and supervisory boards of various companies and made shitloads. And that is why, that's what they call the revolving door, right? They call it this revolving door between business and politics.
Right, this is what I mean. We have to stop.
This is really corrupt. Anyway, at least it's not as bad as Britain.
To Christian Lindner's way to work tomorrow and just be like, no, Christian, no.
Would you like a bit of history? Are you
interested
in history?
By all means.
So this week marked the 160th
birthday of the Social Democratic
Oh,
Party.
that's what you're talking about. I knew that was on the list, but you said history, and I thought it was going to be fun history. I thought it was a different thing. I thought you were giving me a new piece of news.
No. This
Right.
I was just moving on. I thought we'd squeezed
I think
the
we have.
juice,
Sorry.
the juices of the FDP bashing dry.
Fucking hate them. Like, not on an individual level, but just fuck off. Sorry. History.
Yeah, so Social Democratic Party, oldest still running political party in Germany.
Good for them.
There were lots
When were
of
they
parties.
founded then? So 160.
2023 minus 160. What is the answer?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Okay.
When was it?
Oh, it's 18. This is really embarrassing. I'm gonna have to cut this out.
Yeah, we are. No, we can do this, right? Well, I've already had like half a megacan, so it's a bit tricky.
Oh dear.
So 23
18.
taken away from, so that's 7 up to 30, so 37. So we need to go down to 1900 and take away 37, so that would be 70, so 63.
Yeah, that sounds right. 1863.
Will we try it out?
Okay.
People
While you're
just-
doing that, I will tell you about the video message that General Secretary Kevin Kunert gave out, in which he said he's a very young, sort of groovy SPD guy.
You said this to me when I walked in, and then I Googled him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, as far as SPD politicians go, sure.
And he said, wow, the Social Democrats are 160 years old. Unfucking fassbar. It's what they like to do this, often German politicians, is inappropriately insert the word fucking into
They do
inside
it all
words.
the time in, I think because swearing has like a different thing in Germany. Like they don't have good swears. So you'll notice that they just use our English ones, but then they'll use them like they would use. I was always really shocked with kids saying shit in my class.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, but I'm speaking English. And they'd be like, but you can't. It's like a little 8-year-old being like, shit. I was like, no. And then they'd use it like scheisse, which is different. So I think there's a different relationship to swearing, but I'm always shocked by like family TV shows like the Germany singing shows, those voice things.
Oh yeah,
And
the
they'll all be
Masked
like,
Singer.
Das war für mich unfucking believable. I'm like, it's 8 p.m. There are kids watching this. So he said it was unfucking fastbar. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that his party was 160 years old.
Did he elaborate on why he thinks it's unbelievable?
No, I think he was just
Excited?
expressing exuberance. Yeah, just generally. I mean, they had a party this week down the road here. There's the SPD headquarters not far from here, and they just said, I didn't go. I just heard about it. I don't know.
Had something else on.
3 days. They had 3 days. Schultz was there and gave a little
Like
speech.
a sesh. Do you think they were just... That would make me... if they were just like, it's Berlin, they're just on the absolute rollover.
It looked like this.
No
Here's
one's
a picture.
going to bed. Oh, Jesus. Right, I'm going to explain. Is that Kai Wegner in the middle?
No.
No, that's
That
not
is-
him. I haven't learned how he looks like because I'm trying to pretend he doesn't exist. Who is that in the middle?
This is actually a picture of the mayor of Bremen,
Oh.
who is SPD. And this is Lars Klingbeil, who is
Oh, God, these are politicians.
Yeah, this is SPD politicians.
Yeah, I knew the one in the middle was because he's still got his jacket on, but the other one's taking his jacket off and is playing, oh, God, help us all, a guitar.
Yeah, and they're singing Stand By Me.
No.
Yeah, it was a sort of campaign event, and yeah, that's what happened.
So
it was very
160 years old, 1863, I was correct.
Yeah, phew. Took us a while, but we got there.
It took us a long time, and
In
I
our
don't think I did
heads.
it the quickest way.
Currently, the SPD is languishing in the polls, as they say, between 17 and 19%. It's very low. The SCDU is way out ahead, 10-point lead. I mean, the AFD is doing really well at the moment as well. So they're like
This is not the time for them to reduce the size of Megacanners, let me fucking tell you. Whoever's making,
yeah. Anyway, so a lot of people were, because obviously the Social Democrats won the last election, but now looking very poor, and Schultz is not as popular as he was at the election, and this might cause some ructions within the party because Schultz is considered more on the conservative side of the SPD, and the base of the SPD is quite left wing. It's much more left wing. So they're now, but they kind of kept quiet when when he won the election. They were really happy that they were in power, and now, because he's not delivering the numbers anymore, there's a lot more people are turning on Schultz. And Kunert himself, who is pretty left wing, he was one of the people who tried to stop Schultz becoming leader of the party once, and now who knows.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's quite a lot of, maybe there's hope for the old SPD yet, and this is my birthday wish for them. Swing to the left. That'd be nice.
I'm sure you would get on with most SPD party members. I don't know why.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
If we just didn't talk about politics.
No, even if you talked about politics.
I don't think so.
They're reasonable people.
They're not reasonable people. They're like fucking in a government that is...
Well, yeah. There's that. Obviously, reasonable is a...
they're not the AFD.
Word.
They're not like Nazis.
No.
But that shouldn't be our standard.
No.
I think the SPD, they're just this centrist kind of bullshit.
Yeah. They're compromisers. That's why they see themselves as compromisers, as managers of the country.
Compromise is very boring. Because then no one gets what they want. Just let the people who are right about stuff get what they want.
Okay. We'll see if we can arrange that in the future.
The problem is there.
It's a good idea. We'll take it on board to the next meeting.
How's your Megacam?
Lovely. I'm enjoying it very much. It's not hit me as hard as I thought it would, actually, because I've not had a drink for a while. Or
maybe you've built up your resistance somehow.
Over the years. Yeah.
It is a good one. And it's a lovely day, and I hope everyone enjoys
the Pentecost.
The carnival or the carnival or Pentecost or lying by a lake or something.
Yeah. This is the season for it. Enjoy it while you can.
It is.
Soon it'll be cold again.
It is. It's lovely.
Yeah.
I haven't finished my can yet.
Oh, I'll finish mine now.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Conrad, for the news. I'm sorry that I interrupted you all the time, but I just get so angry.
No, it's fine. I think
it's kind of our thing by now.
Yeah, I think I kind of talk a bit too much anyway.
No.
But, I've got to talk, haven't I? Because otherwise it'll just be silence.
No, I would talk, but it wouldn't have any worth or value to anyone.
But people would listen. Right, so if you would like to become a patron, you can go on patreon.com.
Please do, yes. That would be lovely.
Find us on there. And we do this for you guys, especially the ones that give us money.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We listen to the news, or I do, so that you don't have to, or you do have to, but I don't know, at least I'm with you with a drink.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
We love you all.
We love you all. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.